Sorry about that.
That's okay.
There's too many people moving and shaking around here, and you can't really keep track of who's doing what. So yeah, like I said, I'm just going to go through for everything in this room is audio and video recorded. First off, you okay with that?
Oh yes.
Okay. So as far as your latest position at St. Elizabeth,
yeah,
that was your last position as a RN, is that
yes,
correct?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Yes.
And you said you resigned from there?
Yeah.
Okay. What brought you to that?
That's where things get a little crazy.
Okay.
This is part that I haven't told the doctors. Because it seems so stupid now.
Okay.
The different times that I have caused people's deaths or caused them discomfort through the insulin, I believe it was the influence of that voice or whatever it was. It wasn't a voice in my head, it was a voice in here. And when I would do it, afterwards I would hear like a laughter in my chest. And it's, it's been a while because I've been stewing about, like, do I give the names of the people that I killed?
Right.
Because then here's 8 families that thought that their family member died peacefully and normally, and they didn't. And what's that going to do to those families?
Right. I want to just go over this document, if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
Okay, would you be willing to do that with me?
Yeah.
Okay. And you do your thing.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. Absolutely not.
This is pretty, excuse me, major. I've only ever had parking tickets. I've never been arrested for anything.
Well, like I said, you're not under arrest
I
right now,
know.
but it is a very significant investigation, you're right.
I understand.
Okay. And like I said before, Beth, I do appreciate you speaking with us, and I can imagine that, does it feel like a weight off your shoulders?
Yes. Yes,
You've been carrying a burden for quite some time.
And I've tried to get help a couple of times.
Yeah. Well, sometimes it takes a few attempts to finally commit to it, right?
Yeah, I had a pastor that I told, and he prayed over me and told me I'd be fine.
So, Mr. Silcox, it says here you were working a double shift from 3 till 7, right?
3 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Right. Okay. And this was at Crescent Care?
Yes.
Okay, in Woodstock?
Yes.
Okay. The diagnosis of his health at the time you were caring for him, do you remember?
He was post-hip surgery and he had dementia.
Do you remember how old he was approximately?
No, I don't. I'm going to say 80s.
In his 80s?
Yeah.
Okay. And, sorry, he was not a diabetic?
Not a diabetic.
And, sorry, you said he had dementia?
Yes.
Okay, which you've also noted here as well, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, was this your first attempt at overdosing these people on insulin?
Yes, Padola was.
Padola.
And I didn't really want her to die. I don't know, I was just angry and had this sense inside me that she might be a person that God wanted back with him.
Okay. And is that feeling you're referring to that you had in your stomach at times?
Yes.
Okay. Is that the point, and I hate to get off topic here, but the point where you had these feelings in your stomach and almost that laughter after it happened?
Yeah.
Is that the part that you didn't tell Dr. Khan?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I just wanted to be clear on that.
I told him about the laughter in my stomach, but not the feeling that this might be the person that God wants.
Okay.
Dr. Khan kept asking me, do you think God chose me for a special purpose? I kept saying no. But yeah, I just had a sense after my marriage broke up that God was going to use me for something. And then after a while I started to really wonder, after some of the murders, if it was God or if it was the devil fooling me.
Did you feel like you were doing the right thing for these people? No.
No. I felt like I was doing what I was supposed to do, but it wasn't what was right for them.
So James, then, it was in the evening that this one took place, right?
Yeah.
It says here at about 9:30.
Yeah.
Run me through.
About 9:30, I gave him a dose of 50 milligrams of insulin. He's not diabetic, so I used a borrowed insulin pen, borrowed insulin, and gave him an insulin shot. And at 3:30. The PSW, well, throughout the night he was yelling out, I love you and I'm sorry. And not to me, but just you could hear him calling out in his room, and that's what he was calling out. And then at 3:30, the PSWs came to me and said that he was gone. So I did what we're supposed to do. I went and listened to his heart and chest, called the doctor, called the family because that's what they wanted. Family came in and sit with him for a while. Doctor came in and said that his cause of death was from an embolism due to his post-hip. He'd had hip surgery. Doctor ruled it embolism due to post-hip surgery.
Did you have a problem sleeping that night at all, or anything like that, or did you?
Well, I was working nights, so I was.
During the day then?
I would say I tossed and turned a bit, yeah. Felt pretty bad. And I didn't want to see the family again. So I tried to make sure I wasn't working when they came to pick up his stuff, and I wasn't.
And what room, do you remember, like a room number, or just, like you
No,
said?
it was down in our phone.
The wing, yeah. Okay. Where did you get the insulin from for James, for Mr. Silcox? You said you had taken some insulin, and where did you get those?
The insulin was kept in a fridge in the medication room.
Okay.
We had 2 medication rooms. Insulin was kept in a fridge in the medication room, and extra pens were kept in the drawer. So you could just say somebody had someone admitted and you needed a pen in a hurry. So you just put the insulin in the pen and put the needle on and dial up the dose and give it.
And how was that documented to know that, so that Crescent Care would know that you were taking that insulin?
They didn't keep track of insulin.
Okay. So it was just something that was available for the nurses' use when they knew that it was appropriate for the certain patients?
Yes, now each patient has their own insulin.
Right.
And maybe somebody may have noticed that a lot of insulin was missing if a lot was used, but I was always careful to use different people.
Okay. Different people's insulin?
Insulin, yes.
Okay. All right. And Mr. Silcox, then, where did you inject the insulin into his body?
I'm not really sure. I'm going to say his arm or his torso.
And did he know what was going on at that point?
Not really.
Was he a verbal patient? Like, could he converse
yeah,
with you and communicate?
He didn't really converse. He did a lot of yelling out. I don't really remember him reacting when I gave it to him.
So, he didn't react?
I don't remember him reacting, no.
Okay. Would he maybe just think it's a regular portion of his day and
Probably.
receiving the medications that he so required?
Probably today I dementia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
By that time I was in a new relationship with a woman.
Okay. Who was that?
Her name was Maureen.
Did you ever disclose to her what you were doing?
No, absolutely not.
Throughout this document, and as we go through it, a lot of these people, you kind of describe them as not very nice people,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I'm not sure if that's a tendency or a pattern that we see as far as, is that why you chose these people?
Yeah, it might be, but I also know I just felt like they were the ones.
Right.
I had a feeling inside that they were the ones.
Before you injected insulin to Mr. Silcox, was it a spur of the moment thing? Had you thought about it when you reported for duty at 3 o'clock in the afternoon?
I started thinking about it about 6 at night, I think.
Okay. And do you remember who the pronouncing doctor would have been?
No.
Okay, tell me a little bit about your interactions with Maurice.
He was sometimes a patient of mine. One afternoon I was working with him and he did grab me. And again, I got that feeling inside that this is his time to go. So I gave him an overdose of insulin after supper. And I believe he died the next day.
And what was your shift that? Do you remember what shift
It
you were
was
working at that
3 to
point?
11.
3 p.m.?
Yeah, to 11 p.m.
Till 11 p.m., so like
So
an afternoon shift.
he died when I wasn't there.
Okay. And at what point of the day do you think that I think you said this already, but just to confirm, what time of the day do you think it was when you had injected him with
When I injected him, it was afternoon. I think it was 4:30, 5:30.
Okay. Okay. All right. And did he question his vitamin shot at all?
No.
And he passed away the next day?
Yeah.
Okay. And And do you remember what part of the body he would have been injected in?
Maybe the leg. Because at that point he didn't have a lot of body fat, so
Maurice didn't?
he didn't know. And when you get a subcutaneous injection, it goes in to the body fat, so.
Okay. And you documented that he was a cancer patient?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember what type of cancer he had?
I think it was prostate.
Prostate?
Prostate, yes.
Okay. And what did the outcome hold for his future as far as the cancer in his body?
He was dying.
How old do you think Maurice was?
75, 76.
The next person on your list is Helen Matheson.
Yeah.
Okay. So you go from September or October to 07.
Yeah.
And then Helen was 2011.
Yes.
What happened between those years?
I think you'll see that
Was there some attempts? In 08 and 09?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And we'll get to those.
Yeah.
Okay.
Helen, I don't remember a lot about. She was very quiet, very determined. Just seemed to be waiting to die.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I had that feeling that, this is the one.
Mm-hmm.
And I made a bit of a fuss about her that night because she was very lucid.
Mm-hmm.
And we talked about how much she liked blueberry pie and ice cream.
Okay.
So on my break, I went to Walmart. I got a small blueberry pie and some ice cream
Mm-hmm.
and brought it to her, and she ate 3 or 4 bites.
Nice.
And then that night I overdosed her. Because, like I said, I had that feeling that it was her time to go, and
What do you mean by that? Do you think she was towards the end of her life at that
I
point?
know that she was the person to go next.
And that was in your mind, in your stomach? Where was that feeling?
In my chest
In your
area.
chest.
And after I did it, I got that laughter.
Okay. When would you feel that laughter? Would you feel it right after you injected it, or once the person passed away?
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
Okay. And Helen was, you did hear that she wasn't a diabetic?
No.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, how much insulin would it take to kill someone
See, I
that
don't
wasn't a
know.
diabetic, or
I don't know.
you don't know that?
No. So it was kind of hit and miss.
Different people would react differently to different amounts, is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't say a lot of negative things about Helen here. Did you get along with her okay? Did she ever do anything to harm you, or?
No, she was very quiet. It was just, I got that feeling that she's next, this is her time to go.
And her health at that point, what was her diagnosis?
She was, I couldn't tell you her diagnosis, just that she didn't get out of bed a lot, and she had to be fed her food and fed her pills.
Okay.
So she was near her end of life.
How old do you think Helen was when this happened?
I'd say about 85 or 86. Mm-hmm.
Mary, is your Winsky, is that?
Yeah.
How do you recall her last name being pronounced?
Yeah.
And this was at Crescent Care?
Yeah.
Okay, and you said that she wasn't a diabetic, but she had dementia?
That's right.
Okay.
But she could talk and communicate a lot.
Mary could?
Yeah, she was feisty.
Was she?
Yeah. She didn't hurt the nurses or anything. She was just very outspoken and feisty, and one night she said, I'm going to die tonight.
Mary said that?
Yeah. And I said, oh. And she said, yeah, why don't you get me into the deathbed so I can die? And I said, are you sure? And she said, yeah, put me to bed, I'm going to die. So I said, okay, and I went to the other nurse that was working with me, and she said, oh, okay, well, let's put her in the sinus care room if that's what you want. So we did, and then I thought, well, she must be the next one.
Mm-hmm.
I had a feeling inside of me she must be the next one. Because she was saying she was going to die, but there was no signs she was going to die. So I gave her an overdose of insulin. She became palliative and she died. I think it's been a couple of days. I think.
Yeah, it said she died the next afternoon, is what you didn't even know about here, but,
Which one has the vodka in it?
And she had vocalized to you that she thought that she was going to die that night.
Yeah. So I thought, okay, she must be the one. When I gave the insulin, I got that feeling inside and the laughter.
And Mary ever done anything to harm you or
No,
upset you in any way?
no. She was fun.
Okay. We'll refer to her as your fourth victim.
Yes.
The fourth person that, that you were successful in these insulin injections. How did your emotions start to feel as this kept continuing?
I kept having a lot of guilt. A lot of guilt. Mary, well, as you'll see, after Mary was Gladys, and after Gladys there was a period of 2 years where I didn't do it. 3 years where I didn't do it.
What was going on in your life at that point?
I was trying very, very hard to get close to God, to make sure that this wasn't Him, and to just live my life, read the Bible, go to church, and not do that because I didn't want to do it anymore. So I tried very hard. I'm still using a little bit.
The hydromorphs?
Yeah.
And alcohol?
Yeah.
What was your drink of choice?
Rye.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't say it like that, but I make it sound like it's, yeah, rye.
Would you?
Rye and Bailey's.
Yeah.
Yeah, pop a rye and pop down some water.
Yeah.
Yeah, rye and water.
Okay. And typically, how much would you drink in a week?
In a week, probably about 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like shots of rye or?
Drinks. I don't know.
Okay.
On the shot.
Okay.
If you're gonna go by a shot, I know if you do a drink, so like 3 times 9, 27.
So like you'd be drinking triples?
Yeah.
As significant and disturbing as this may be to the people that are going to hear this and learn about this, obviously there's a lot of families that we're going to contact
Yes.
and speak to. Although this wasn't, and I hate to classify it into different areas, but these weren't necessarily violent deaths. Like, do you think these people died peacefully? Did they struggle at all?
All the people you've talked about so far died peacefully, in my opinion. And I am sorry. I'm sorry for what the families went through at the time, and I'm extremely sorry for what they're going to go through. It's awful.
If you could say something to them, what would you say to them?
What can you say to them that would matter? I'm sorry isn't enough. I should have gotten help sooner. I took something from you that was precious and it was taken too soon. I honestly believed at the time that God wanted me to do it, but I know now that's not true. And if I could take it back, if I could get help sooner, I would have. And I'm sorry.
So this takes us to November of 2011 at Crescent Care. It says here Gladys was a type 2 diabetic and had dementia.
Severe dementia.
Did she? Yeah. How old do you think Gladys was?
92.
92? Okay. Tell me a little bit about Gladys. What was she like when you cared for her?
Well, when I first started caring for her, she was walking and talking, and she had quite the spirit. She once punched a man.
Oh.
Because she overheard the nurses telling one of the gentlemen, no, you can't push your wife around, you have to come with us. And she turned around and she said, you can't treat a woman like that. Boom!
And hit the man.
And hit the man. As always, one evening I just got that red surging feeling that she was going to be the one. And gave her insulin overdose.
Did you ever get that feeling outside of work?
No, never.
No? Did you ever get that feeling going to work, knowing that something was going to happen that shift?
No, it always happened at work.
And that was, again, at Crescent Care.
Yeah.
Was that insulin taken from the same location as you always would?
Yes.
Okay. Was there cameras in
the bedrooms? No.
No?
No.
Nothing at all?
No.
Okay. So you could access whatever you like and...
Well, not whatever you like, but yeah.
You know how long it took for Gladys to die?
I believe she died the next afternoon, or that afternoon.
Okay. And do you know if you were present for that?
No, I was not. when someone's dying, it seems like it takes longer than it does
Mhm.
if you're around, if you know what I mean.
Mhm. I do.
Yeah, so, I'm sorry that you don't know.
Thank you. As far as Gladys goes, do you remember if you worked the next day to learn about Gladys's death, or?
I think I worked 2 days later.
Okay.
I think I worked the day after her death, whenever that was.
Okay. What would play through your mind on your days where you inject, so Gladys, for instance, you inject her, you work nights, it says here, so
Yeah.
11 till 7. You did this at 5 o'clock. You go home and carry it on about, if you have 1, 2, 3 days off, whatever
Yeah.
the case was. What was going through your mind on those days off? Were you thinking,
Yeah.
when's Gladys going to die?
I would wonder if she had died. I would wonder, you know, if this would be the time I would get caught.
Mhm.
You know, what was I going, every time I walked in after somebody had passed away, I always wondered, is this day I'm gonna get caught?
Mhm. What kind of consequences play through your head? Like if damn, I'm caught, the gig's up. What kind of consequences do you think you're going to face if that were to happen back in 2011?
Fired, jail, no more nursing license. That's exactly what I'm looking at now. Although I took myself out instead of being fired, but
Right.
jail and no more nursing license.
As far as in 2011 though, and having that feeling, like when did those feelings start to say in your mind, like, I wonder if this is the time I'm going to get caught? Did it happen right at Mr.
Probably
Soapbox,
every
or
time.
did it?
Yeah, probably every time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Gladys, do you think, did she have a reaction when you injected her?
She fought a little bit.
Did she?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Like she struggled around, so I kind of fought on her leg that I could do where she couldn't reach me and pinch me.
Okay. Would that be something typical if you were giving her medication, she'd like
Yeah.
to pinch?
Pinch, scratch.
Did you ever go to work intoxicated by alcohol or drugs at all?
No.
Did you ever use at work?
Yes.
The hydromorphs?
Yes.
Okay. Often?
Probably once or twice a week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you remember how much you gave Gladys?
Of the insulin?
Mm-hmm.
I think I gave her 80/60. I think.
And her reaction after she kind of pinched and struggled a little bit with you?
She relaxed, and then by the time the next nurse came on, she was red, she was sweating, she was incoherent. Her vital signs were all down.
And how do you know that?
Because I was just leaving when the next nurse came on, and PSWs came to her and said something's going on with Gladys, and she said, "Come with me, we have to go check on Gladys."
And
So,
did you?
yes, I actually helped her move Gladys to the palliative care room.
Okay. And do you
Scared out of
remember
my gourd the whole time that she was going to say it was something I did.
thinking, okay, was she still able to communicate at that point?
No.
Do you remember what nurse that was that you moved?
Karen? I don't remember her last name. If I sat for a minute, I could probably remember it.
Well, if it comes to you, might just be one of those things that pops in your head in a few moments, right?
Yeah. Rutledge.
Karen Rutledge?
Yeah.
She's still there?
Yep, as far as I know.
And Helen was a type 2 diabetic with dementia?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me a little bit more about Helen.
Helen was miserable. She frequently yelled out, "Help me, nurse." She frequently yelled out she wanted to die. She just was not happy with her life. Very difficult to deal with. Constantly would yell out, "I want to die. Why can't you help me die? I want to die." And one night, it was like something snapped inside, and that red surge came back, and I thought, okay, you will die. So, I gave her a shot. I came up to her and said, "This is for your pain," and I gave her a shot of long-acting or short-acting, and she started to settle down. And then later on, we put her into bed, and I gave her more of the insulin. I think it was long-acting. She had a seizure. She turned red. She was diaphoretic. The PSWs called me to the bedside. I took all of her vital signs, and I pretended to take her blood sugar.
So being that it had been a few years then, when you injected Mrs. Young and you were successful in causing her death, how did it make you feel after those few years that these urges and these feelings had come back?
I felt horrible. I felt angry at myself. I felt like I had failed myself. I felt like God had failed me.
Did you continue to practice in the church?
I continued going to church, yeah.
Did you believe in it as much as
I did, but I was getting very confused. So it was soon after that I went to the pastor and told him what had happened. And he prayed over me, and because he said that was the last thing he would have thought of me, and his wife was there too, and they prayed over me, and they said to me, now this is God's grace, but if you ever do this again, we will have to turn you into the police.
And where would that conversation have taken place? At the church?
In their house, at their kitchen table.
And how detailed would you get with the conversation?
Oh, I told him that I was taking people's lives by giving them some overdoses.
What were you specific with names? How much influence
No.
when you were doing this?
No.
How many people?
I don't know if I told him how many people, just that I was doing it. I wanted to stop.
March of 2014, Mrs. Maureen Victory at Crescent Care.
Yeah.
Tell me about Maureen.
Maureen was a handful. She would attack other patients. She would pull their hair. She would hit them. She would pinch them. She just got harder and harder to look after. And when I had to look after her, I got this idea. I thought, I'm starting to get the feeling of that surge again. I thought, no, I don't want her to die. But if I could somehow give her enough of a dose to give her a coma or something to change her brain waves, maybe make her less mobile. So, I overdosed her. That night she stroked. She had a severe stroke. She went to the hospital. And when she came back, she was there at the nursing home for a few days, and she died. But before she came back from the hospital, I was fired from Crescent Care for medication errors that had nothing to do with this.
Do you remember how much insulin that you gave to Mrs. Victory?
It was a lot.
Why so much to her?
Wasn't sure if she would die or not. Oh yeah, the first time I gave it to her, she said, "Hey, what was that for?" And I said, "That's your vitamin injection."
How long in between when you gave her the next dose?
Probably an hour and a half, 2 hours.
And that was about, what time did you say, sorry?
Oh, I don't know.
You were still working in the afternoon, right?
Yeah, 8 or 9 at night.
Okay. What was the cause of your firing then, sorry? There was a medication mix up at Crescent?
I had a few medication errors, and strangely enough, not on purpose, one of our residents was missing her long-acting insulin that she got at supper, and it was coming from pharmacy, but I wanted to make sure she got her insulin, so I took insulin from another person who I thought was the same insulin, but it was short-acting, and it gave her a seizure because she wasn't used to it, and she was okay. We helped her, and she was all right, but when they figured it out, I was fired because I had other medication errors as well.
When Mrs. Young was injected with insulin, did you work anywhere between Crescent Care and Meadow Park?
No.
Okay, did you go directly from one to the other?
Pretty much, within a month.
And would those medication errors be documented in a reference letter, or
No.
were you made aware of anything like that Meadow Park would be aware of the reason why you were let go
I
from
told
Crescent
the person that hired me at Meadow Park, she told me she had found my resume somewhere, because I never applied to Meadow Park.
Oh, really?
But she had found my resume somewhere, and she called me because they needed a nurse.
Oh, okay.
So when we did our interview, her name was Heather, I forget her last name, she's not there anymore. When we did our interview, she said to me, "Why did you leave?" And I told her, I'll be absolutely honest with you, I was fired for med errors. And she said, well, tell me about them, and I did. And she said, okay, well, I believe in second chances, so you're hired. Full-time afternoons, and it was a 1-year contract.
So, RPAD, or RTORVAT?
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about it.
He was mean. He would grab the nurses and PSWs, whenever they were trying to do things for him, he would grab them, he would twist their arms, he would punch them. Very difficult to do care for. And one night I just got that surgery and I got that you need to go.
Had he done something that night?
No, not really, just been his normal self. And he fought the first needle. And then the second needle I got in.
When you were doing this, did you ever speak to these people when you were injecting them?
No.
Would you ever say anything to them?
Not unless they asked me what I was doing, then I just say it was a vitamin injection.
Where did you inject him?
His arm and his thigh.
Okay.
And his family was devastated, absolutely devastated.
How did you feel having a conversation with him?
Awful. Again, like I betrayed them.
How are you feeling right now?
Can I go to the bathroom again?
Yeah. We're getting there. I have 7:14. How does that make you feel going through all that?
Awful.
Do you feel like there's a burden lifted off your shoulders?
Yes, I've done the right thing.
Do you feel there's a sense of relief?
Yes. And now I know that it wasn't God. And I'm ashamed of myself. Yes.
Is there anyone else within your career path that isn't listed on these 4 documents, or these 4 pieces of paper, that you'd be responsible for their deaths?
No, absolutely not.
And if we were to tell you that we've come across some fairly significant or suspicious deaths at other nursing homes,
Where it's in?
right, what would you say to that?
I'd say it wasn't me.
So there's no one else involved
No,
that fell victim to your actions?
no.
Just repeat to me again the people that you've disclosed this to besides myself tonight.
Okay. The very first person I ever disclosed it to was another girlfriend at the time. Her name was... I told her what I'd been doing and that I had stopped. And then I told my pastor. I told a friend who lives in BC. Well, I told my friend, before everyone, I told my cousin, I told my friend, and I told my friend, and then while I was in CAMH, I told someone who I thought was a friend, and I understand that he thought he was doing the right thing. I understand that, but he had said, oh, I won't tell anybody, and I was using him as a resource for support, and he turned around and
Right.
when I'd already, I'd already shared it, so why would he call the police?
So why do you think that none of these people confronted police?
Maybe they didn't believe me. I don't know.
Telling these people, I just find it hard to believe that no one would come forward until, which is 5-6 people down the road, right?
Yeah.
Of having knowledge of it.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
And everything that you're telling us is the truth.
Yes, it is.
There's
Yes, sir.
nothing that's been fabricated.
No, sir. No.
And you're sure about that?
I know so.
What would we find in your home? Did you ever document any of this activity at all?
Once in a while I journaled on it. There might be some in my home, but I don't know.
Where would
I
those
think
be?
I threw it out. If it's around, it would be in like a spiral binder in either my desk, my other desk, or my
The filing cabinet?
yes, filing cabinet, thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
And that's, did Do you live, alone?
Yes, I did,
Stuff?
yes. Did you want someone to come with me and look?
Well, to be honest with you, as part of the investigation, there's already been a search warrant executed at your house.
Oh, so the search is already, there's already been a
I
search
don't know what
warrant?
stage it's at, because we've been conversing for quite some time.
Okay.
It's probably close to being completed,
Okay,
but I'm just asking, because you've been so cooperative,
yeah,
and again, I do appreciate that.
yeah.
What's your tattoo mean?
Hopes and dreams?
Does that mean blue?
That I have hopes for the future and dreams of the future.
Yeah. What are your hopes of the future now, after speaking to me over the last few hours?
That somehow, some way I can help somebody. There's gotta be somebody wherever I go, jail, penitentiary, there's gotta be somebody I can help. Maybe somebody who can't read, maybe somebody who can't write, maybe somebody who's done worse than me and feels like it'll never be forgiven. Maybe somebody who's done less than me and feels like it'll never be forgiven. There's gotta be something that can come from this. Maybe somebody can study me and come up with answers and new medications so this doesn't happen again. That's my hopes and dreams now. I think I did pretty good.
I think you did.
So what happens now?
I'm just gonna get you to sit tight, and we'll arrange to see what the next steps are.
Oh, okay, I might not be going home then.
I will get back to you with that. And let me get back to you with some answers and
Okay.
where we're going from here, okay?
I'd like to go home.
Okay. We'll sit tight and we'll see what's
Even
gonna
if I
happen.
have to wear an ankle bracelet, I'd like to go home.
Okay. All right, thank you, Beth.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm ready to face it, but I would love to go home for a night.
I think that's gonna happen.
Bless you.
Okay, I think that's gonna happen. As I said at the very, very beginning of this, whatever time we started ago, hours ago, you're not under arrest right now,
Okay.
okay?
Call you back in 30 minutes. That was my cousin.
Gotcha. Having said that, there's something in the Criminal Code of Canada, and this is usually results in someone being charged with a criminal offense and being placed on such a thing called an 810 peace bond.
Okay.
Okay? You've heard of a restraining order?
Yes.
It's similar to that.
Okay.
Okay? A lot of people call them restraining orders, but it's actually in Canada called an 810 peace bond.
Okay.
And no problem. I've got 8:16, and I think that'll probably conclude things, but I'm glad you use the washroom and go from there. Oh, I just have to get you to sign that consent by the way.
Yeah, no problem.